It's not a game. World government's been openly announced. Donald Trump is saying no to globalism, no to bad deals that sell out American sovereignty, our jobs, and our culture. And the fight is on. He's with us till the end of the hour. We're going to take 5 lucky callers to get to ask questions of Stone coming up here in about 15 minutes. But first, he's got big breaking news. I'm usually the one asking him to come on. But anytime he's got breaking news, boom, he can get right on the show. He wants to talk about money. The key is money in this campaign, super PACs, and then a sneak peek on who could the VP be for Trump. By the way, he's going to be here in studio with us Friday. Roger Stone coming into Austin, Texas to War Game on a bunch of fronts. We're going to him in just a moment. Please don't forget, we're ending these specials today. They will end today, and that's it. Because I'm going to run out of Survival Shield X2 at 20% off. The good halogen, absolutely got to get that. 30% off Super Male Vitality, Super Female Vitality, 30% off Liver Shield, 30% off Vitamin Mineral Fusion. We're extending the Memorial Day sale. 20% off all InfoWars apparel. 10% off on top of that when you sign up for auto ship and free shipping on all orders of $50 or more at InfoWars Store. That's one word, InfoWarsStore.com, or you can go to InfoWarsLife.com. That takes you directly to the subpage with the Brain Force, the other nootropics, the lung cleanse, and so many other game-changing products. And here's what's great about this. We don't get taxpayer money like NPR or MSNBC. They've gotten billions. We actually sell high-quality products and have sponsors, and then it's free association. You can decide whether to fund us or not. We don't put a gun to your head and then use the taxpayer money against you and your family. We're defending your Second Amendment. We're defending our sovereignty. We're standing up against the radical jihadis being brought in mass. We are promoting real religious freedom. We're against the jihadists throwing gays off roofs overseas and they want to come over here and have Sharia law. Because we're tyranny-phobic. We don't like the New World Order tyranny or the radical Islamic tyranny. So it's so important to support the broadcast and to know they've announced massive censorship in Europe with the big Facebook, Twitter, Google, Apple, all together saying, we're not going to let you criticize anybody. If you're conservative libertarian, we're going to shut you down. Germany already arrests you. And now Zuckerberg wants to do that here and has been restricting Trump and Drudge and InfoWars and everybody else. So it's on. But they're trying to restrict us because they've been quietly doing it forever. It hasn't worked. We are taking the planet back. Hispanics, we have our reporters all over the country, are like half the people. I mean, I sat there and watched raw video of like 30 minutes of people going into a Trump rally. Half of them are Hispanic, with Hispanics with Mexican flags spitting at them, screaming at them. I want to do a special report on that, by the way, because we have all the footage. We've showed it. And the Hispanic Americans are just laughing at them. And they're just laughing at them because, you know, they're dressed nice. They want to have a prosperous country. They care about this nation. They want that dream. That's why a lot of them left Mexico, and they're being spit on by gangbangers with Mexican flags with zit-faced white kids hopping around, spitting. Thank God we're not with these people, folks. And the good news is the hoax that Trump's anti-woman or anti-Hispanic, whatever, is collapsing. They're panicking. So now more than ever, spread the word about this broadcast, the interviews we do. Sign up for the free email newsletter and exclusive videos we send at Infowars.com/newsletter. Because with the censorship intensifying, even if they shut off InfoWars with their internet kill switches and stuff, and that's a possibility. During some Islamic Tet offensive and crisis, they say they'll do it. Just like in Europe, they shut off the internet, they shut off the Patriots communication, claiming it's to stop radical Islam they brought in. So sign up at Infowars.com/newsletter, because even with an internet kill switch, we can still get to you via email, and it's key that we be able to communicate. All right. Now, without further ado, let's go to Roger Stone in his war room in Florida, inside the battle for the Republic, outside the Trump campaign, but one of his top advisors, always giving us key intel on so many fronts. Thank you for joining us, sir.
Alex, it's great to be here, and it's an exciting time to be an American.
It is. Okay, you've got the floor, my friend. What is front and center? I know you sent us this article, the big casino owner, Adelson AIDS, in talks to set up pro-Trump super PAC.
Yeah, I think it's very important to recognize that Hillary Clinton, according to the most recent Federal Election Commission reports, has raised about $85,000 in super PAC money and has as much as 45.8 on hand today. And there's more where that came from. So Trump, of course, would be foolish to unilaterally disarm. But first, he must raise upwards of $1 billion through the Republican Party Victory Fund. Now, the very first fundraiser was very successful, netted about $6 million. at the home of Tom Barrack, a businessman who runs a real estate opportunity fund, who's a close personal friend of Donald's. That's good. But if you go do the math, the party apparatus is going to have to raise that much every day on average. And of course, Donald Trump himself cannot do that many events, so he has to campaign. There is going to be a very interesting development. We have to watch fundraising carefully because it is crucial. Now, Corey Lewandowski is in charge, as I understand it, of the newly announced fundraising operation. It is absolutely clear that, like the Clinton campaign, the Trump campaign is going to need to be augmented with super PACs. We have talked on this program about the problems with Great America PAC, the financial irregularities, the longtime record of Ed Rollins, the chairman, as an anti-Trump antagonist, and now his ties to Teneo Strategy, which is the Clintons. I believe that good old Ed is a quisling, and this is a sabotage operation. There is a group called the Committee for American Sovereignty, a pro-Trump PAC with an august committee. I have sent them $1,000 personally. I know this fellow, Doug Watts, who runs it. He is a competent practitioner of political communications, and he is a real-life Reagan Republican. So I've sent him $1,000 from myself. But the news today really is that the billionaire Sheldon Adelson, who has pledged, according to Politico, $100 million to the Trump campaign, will probably fund neither of these entities and is in talks with a new PAC. What this story doesn't tell you is that among those political professionals that they're in discussion with is Karl Rove. Yes, Karl Rove is back in the House. Rove has been pitching Adelson to let him control the $100 million that is to help Trump. Now, I don't need to tell you that Karl Rove has done nothing but belittle, attack, and underestimate Donald Trump.
By the way, he lives right here in Austin. And I'm just going to leave it at that I happen to talk to a political person who's on record, works with Rove some. And he said, look, he's saying, you got to get behind Trump. This is last week. And he just laughed and said, no way. So I know last week he was saying he's going to get Trump. So that's some key intel for you.
Well, here's the other key point, and that is Reince Priebus and his friends at the Republican National Committee would also like to send $30 million worth of data analytical work to the data vault owned by Karl Rove and others. So Karl is now trying to profiteer. It is not just that he is a longtime antagonist and critic of Trump.
Well, he famously has gobbled up most of the Tea Party money. He's a hated creature.
And achieved nothing. The point is, we lost the White House under Karl. We lost both houses of the Congress. He then, in 2012 and the previous cycle, had unlimited money from mega wealthy donors. He's a loser. He cannot help Donald Trump. He doesn't know how. He didn't see the Trump revolution coming. He doesn't understand the new dynamics. If Karl Rove ends up getting wealthy off the candidacy of Donald Trump through the good graces of Sheldon Adelson or otherwise, that would be a tragic thing.
Well, sure, the mainstream media is saying, look, Bush Sr. and Jeb and former President Bush W. And Mitt Romney and others and the Keating Five, John McCain, they're not going to be at the convention. Oh, it's so terrible. Thank God these horrible warmongering demons that hate Trump because he doesn't want to have war with Russia and war with China, and doesn't want to let radical Muslims in. Thank God, if they were endorsing him, I would have some serious problems with Trump.
Well, but again, that doesn't stop their quisling, their running dog lackey, from trying to cash in on a candidacy that he has.
Sure, but isn't that key intel that just last week he was running his mouth against Trump to high-powered Republicans here in town and that when they were pressuring him. And so that just shows where he's at. He just wants to take the Trump money.
He is very definitely in the mix here, talking to Adelson, talking to some around Trump. We have to remember he is not a friend. He is the architect of many of the failed globalist policies that are destroying
So
this.
you and I and our audience are basically Paul Revere's trying to help Trump not be infiltrated because of the fact that there are these political operatives out there.
Look, Donald Trump's a very smart guy, and he knows that Karl Rove is not his friend. But he's out campaigning every day. He's counting on his campaign apparatus to do everything legal to ensure that they raise as much money as they can. Super PAC world is a different place, and there are hucksters in the market like Rollins and his silent partner, Jesse Benton, the convicted felon who destroyed Paul's campaign and then Rand Paul's campaign. But I wouldn't put $1 there. If you really want to help Trump, then I would say either give directly to the Trump campaign, give to the Victory Fund of the Republican National Committee, or look at these other super PACs and determine which one has low overhead, competent people who know what they're doing.
Sure, because Hillary's going to be getting the big Goldman Sachs money and everything. It's up to the grassroots to be able to do this. Because Trump is such a grassroots organization. It's taken, no money so far, and now it's starting to, because it's like saying you're going to go to space without oxygen. He's got to have the oxygen tanks, folks. It's got to happen if people are serious about winning. But Corey Lewandowski, or is it Arnold Lewandowski? All I know is, what's his name again? I mean, I don't have a dog in the fight.
I think you're referring to Louis Korendowski. And anyway, Louis... Yeah. Said again on Fox this weekend that he was in charge of vetting the vice presidential candidates. Nobody active in the campaign tells me that is the case. I do know A.B. Culverhouse, very able lawyer, worked for Ronald Reagan, who has been brought in to work on this process. But let me get to the bottom line. My confidence is in Trump. I know that the establishment Republicans are pushing Corker, and others may be pushing Newt Gingrich. And,
let's talk. We're talking VP now. Let's get into that.
Exactly. I'm putting my entire confidence in Trump. He knows, above all, that whoever he selects must be somebody who is at one with him on the major issues facing the country. And therefore, the chance of him taking someone out of the establishment, someone who would make Trump an assassination target for some who would, or others who would seek to enter his administration in order to co-opt it. Trump is way too smart for that. He will pick somebody who is a nationalist and entirely loyal to the president. So I'm not worried about some of the names I hear. My friends in the liberty movement and in the Republican Party email me every day. They say, oh, God.
Sure, well, let me throw out a couple here.
Please not Gingrich. Please not this one. Please not that one.
What about a Senator Sessions?
I like Jeff Sessions. I've known Jeff Sessions since he was in the Alabama Young Republicans and I was running for Young Republican National Chairman. He is a fine individual. He's an excellent lawyer. He was a great judge. He would be a great vice president. And he was the first man in the Congress to endorse Donald Trump. And I hope that Sessions is on the list. There are other fine people. I like Shelley Moore Capito, the U.S. Senator from West Virginia. Tough, experienced, not a globalist. I like General Mike Flynn as an outside-the-box possibility. All I know is that only Donald Trump knows what the real short list is. That those in the liberty
field... Yes, Roger, we know you don't know the short list.
No. Look, I think the short list is probably, knowing Trump as I do, I think the short list is probably changing. I think he is holding this very much to himself. I think he floats certain names to others.
Well, I've watched the body language and everything else, and I can tell you right now, just watching television when he's around Sessions, the way Trump acts, he really likes Sessions. And I think Sessions is a good choice.
I think they have a great chemistry. But look, again, Trump is going to make this decision. He's going to make it with some fanfare and with some buildup because he realizes better than anyone else that this is a great news story and it's going to generate great attention. And I suspect people are going to drop on and off the list. I doubt that he's made a final decision. I don't think he knows who he wants today. I'm sure he's leaning one way or another.
Sure.
But anytime
well, bottom line, I want to go to a few phone calls. You're going to be in here with us for an hour and a half live in studio Friday. Really gracious for you to come out of town. But before we go any further, just briefly, because folks are listening, what is the best pact that it's actually promoting Trump and the Constitution and where the money actually gets there for folks in your view?
I have given a contribution to the Committee for American Sovereignty, and you can find them online. They have put together a list of retired military officers, including General McInerney, a former executive with the Trump Organization, Nick Ribis, longtime president of the Trump Hotels and Casino Resorts, former Congressman William Hendon, a number of state legislators. It is a very august. Phyllis Schlafly is on the committee, for example. There it is. These are fine folks. I am not working for them.
I understand. You're simply trying to get Trump into office under your First Amendment.
But I know that they will not steal the money, and I know they will use the money either to register new Trump voters or to fend off the attacks of Hillary Clinton.
And what's the website for that?
It is the Committee for American Sovereignty.com, I believe.
Yeah, man, we'll check it and put it on screen. It's on screen there, folks. There you go, because there's so many groups out there that you've said were a fraud, and then people get indicted. I mean, you really are giving us accurate information here. We're going to skip this network break because this is so important. I want to be able to take calls before we've got to leave us. But just watching today, the story's up on Infowars.com. Trump whips press over charitable donations to vets. That's a good headline, but I'd say blast. I mean, he just blast them. Don Salazar turned out this article quickly. I will say that the press should be ashamed of themselves. I couldn't pull myself away from this press conference. I'm going to play some clips coming up at the bottom of the hour. I've got some guests popping in. But, man, just trying to even get money to vets, they attack him. They just can't let him look like he's doing anything good. It's so sick when these are the people that say nothing about the don't treat list that we know our military's been under for 6 years with Obama. Obama is killing the vets. These people cover up for it, cover up for Hillary and her Brian Williams stories about sniper fire, but then they go after Donald Trump. I mean, what a sick, filthy group of people.
Well, Hillary Clinton said very recently that the problems in our VA hospital system are not widespread. What planet is this woman living on? In Arizona alone, where the ranking Republican on the Veteran Affairs Committee, Senator John McCain, lives, over 600 people died waiting for medical care in the VA.
Joe Biggs has been blown up in armored vehicles repeatedly, shrapnel shot, you name it. He coughs up blood all over the place. He's got all these medical issues. He's been there 30-something times, and they just each time say, come back, come back, come back, till he gave up.
One of my cousins, 2 terms in Vietnam, Purple Heart winner, is told that he makes too much out of his meager retirement, and therefore he's not eligible for treatment.
Yeah, that's the new thing. That's the new thing. It's just insane.
So it's means testing for veterans, but not for welfare recipients.
I was reading in the Hill newspaper last week, the average illegal gets $17,000+ in welfare. The quote, migrants get even more than an actual Social Security recipient that's paid into it as a citizen. Who is running this country?
Well, I think that's all going to change under a President Trump. Let's go to your questions, because I love this part of the...
Absolutely. We're going to go to phone calls right now. We're going to go to, in fact, you did that great Reddit thing that was so popular. We're going to do more of those. I'm going to do one later this week. Let's go ahead and, will you guys pull that screen down? I can't read there, sorry. I can't see the callers there on screen. Again, we're talking to Roger Stone right now. I'm Alex Jones. Infowars.com is my website. StoneZone.com is his website. Let's go ahead and take a call from Rob in Canada. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, Alex. How are you?
Good.
Hey, Roger. Question for you. What are your thoughts on these continual rumors, by Bill Kristol and the neocons to bring some third-party candidate in to, just kind of...
Well, they say they're doing it. They say they're preparing it, yeah.
Well, I think it's a bit of a misnomer. First of all, it's recognized that there's probably no third-party nomination available to a new candidate.
Can't get on the ballot.
The Libertarians nominated their ticket this weekend, my friend Governor Gary Johnson and Governor Bill Weld. And the Greens are not going to nominate somebody copacetic to to Bill Kristol. So what Bill Kristol's really talking about is an independent third candidacy. The requirements in most states are actually even more rigorous in terms of valid signatures.
Sure. So, I mean, we know it's a fraud. So what's the point of it?
I don't really understand. Look, I like Bill Kristol. We disagree on everything. He is a dastardly neocon, but he's charming company. He voted, he was a supporter of Hubert Humphrey. He's not my political cup of tea, but he's a fine fellow. This is folly. I don't know what this is about.
Sure. Well, you're being a gentleman. Let's get back to Johnson, who's been a guest probably 20 times here. A good governor. I like him overall. I think didn't you run his campaign once?
I worked very closely with him.
Okay. So, but I mean, let's be honest. He's saying something about Trump that isn't true. He's acting nasty, and he's trying to spoil this thing, get the libertarians to hand this to Hillary. So let's take the gloves off on Mr. Johnson.
The truth of the matter is that if Bill Weld and Gary Johnson run the right campaign for them, which is to be fiscally conservative and conservative on defense, but to be socially liberal on marijuana and civil liberties, they will, just as Johnson did 4 years ago, take pretty evenly from Hillary Clinton and
Good.
Donald Trump. So don't buy this whole...
Sure, but he's kind of running on a Trump bashing platform.
Well, I have seen Gary's comments. I don't think that that's productive, but I also can't presume to tell him how to run his
He's going to destroy himself with the real libertarian movement if he does that. I think you should watch it. Let's take another call. Al in New Jersey, you're on the air. Go ahead with Roger Stone.
Hey, Alex and Raj, you guys doing a great job. Listen, a very quick suggestion. Why don't we bring up with Lord Monckton and Donald Trump a discussion on a global warming so we could smack Bernie's face and Hillary's, because they be trying to...
Yeah, Trump should hammer turning our power plants on and how they're sabotaging America and how China opens 3 a week. We shut down 3 a week. I think he's hit that some, but I think that's a key for him to hammer. Roger?
I don't necessarily disagree, but in all honesty, climate change is one of those issues the left tries to use to disqualify Trump. And based on the polling that I have seen, it is not one of the driving issues of this election. Our economy is a driving issue. Immigration,
borders, guns.
Right. Immigration is a driving issue. Our foreign policy is a driving issue. And our trade policy and its connection to jobs is a driving issue. I think Trump can hold his own on the climate change issue. But frankly, I want to look for areas where we have commonality with Bernie right now, rather than
no, I get it. We want to get Bernie, folks, once he drops out.
We need a third. We need a third of those votes for Donald Trump to win.
All right, I want to take a few more calls here. You've got to go in a moment, but we've seen him as he takes the gloves off and really goes with your book and your research on the raping and the rest of it and the deaths. Vince Foster. That's when he starts surging in polls. So hopefully he's a smart guy. I know he is. He's getting the advice from you and others to get even more hardcore.
Well, look, he's a brawler. He's a fighter. Nobody's putting words in his mouth. He has a broad cross-section of advisors in the sense that he consults many, many friends, and he's always asking for people's opinions. But at the end of the day, I hate to steal a phrase from George W. Bush, but Trump is the decider. And what you see is what you get. The fact that he's not a confection, that he's not a phony, that he's not politically correct.
Sure, that's what folks see. Real quick, Robert in Michigan, you're on the air with Roger Stone.
Hey, Alex. Hey, Mr. Stone. How you doing?
Good. Go ahead, Robert.
That's good. Real quick, this question, Mr. Stone, regarding Mr. Trump's agenda. As far as, in my opinion, I think, in order for him to win, if he can take away some of the African-American votes from Hillary, because 90% of African-Americans, for some reason, are wholehearted to the Democratic Party, regardless how egregious they are. But if he can get like 20% out of that base, I think he'll have a smooth victory to...
I agree. Shouldn't he go all in for the African-American vote?
Absolutely. There's no question. First of all, the Clintons have done nothing for the African-American community. The reason so many young African-American men are incarcerated today for possession of small amounts of drugs is because of the policies of Bill Clinton.
And then she decries it, acting like he didn't do it.
Right. But she called black people super predators, and she said they needed to be brought to heel. Bill Clinton told Ted Kennedy of Barack Obama a few years ago, this boy would be getting us coffee. This is the dog whistle politics of the Clintons, who ride with the hounds when it suits them. They are no friends of the
Yeah, let's just say it. The Clintons are what I'm ashamed of in the South. I mean, Bill Clinton, she's not a Southerner, but Bill Clinton's a nasty Dixie Mafia, Klansman type. And, of course, her mentor is Robert Byrd, the Grand Dragon. These are filthy people. Roger, I know you got to go, but we'll come back for 2 minutes and 70 seconds. When we come back in the third hour and just finish up a few things with Roger Stone. That's a great point, Robert. I'm going to give you a comeback. So stay there. I want to have you pop back in with Stone on the other side. 70 seconds out. All right, a few more minutes with Roger Stone. Then we've got Marine Corps Colonel coming on along with Tosh Plumley to expose ongoing fast and furious guns through Mexico to ISIS and Al-Qaeda. We know the shipment. We're trying to stop it. I'm going to probably call Homeland Security on air. In fact, guys, pull up that See Something, Say Something number for me because we're going to try to stop this arrogance that's going on right now. Robert in Michigan, I want you to have a comeback bringing up that great point that black unemployment's basically right at doubled under Obama. And a lot of black commentators I know, it's just say, look, I'm not even a conservative, but we literally funding, attention, and he doesn't even go speak in these communities. And it's almost like, well, the poorer we make you, the more you'll be under our control. That's the view I see. And for everything I've heard about Donald Trump, this guy really gets off on making everybody wealthy and really, really likes everybody, regardless of what color they are. So I want you to be able to come back in a moment. But Roger, can you speak from your experience, 40 years?
Well, look, first of all, it's anecdotal. I must say the number of African Americans at Trump rallies just seems to be disproportionately large. And as I travel, because I have spoken out for Trump and on behalf of Trump and given a lot of surrogate speeches for Trump, it's amazing the number of people who come up to me in airports, on the street, in stores, in restaurants, and they high-five me. The irony is that the vast majority of them are African American. Just anecdotally. So I've seen it firsthand. People like the fact that Trump would re-energize the economy. These people want their piece of the American pie. They don't want to be employees. They want to be
Look, even Louis Farrakhan's liking him. I mean, I'm not. It's just getting. People want prosperity. They want to hear we're great.
Well, I like his bow ties, but I'm not crazy about his politics.
Well, he just likes hearing, bring money back into the communities and get the country going. Robert, Michigan, I come back to that.
Yeah. Well, my point is, like, I know this. Most of the free world, a lot of people know this, but the mainstream, they do a poor job, in my opinion, but, somewhat effective. Like everything you mentioned about how bad the Clintons are. I watched the Clinton Chronicles. I sat there and watched the whole movie. And it's very factual, very, I presented the facts and I understood it. And all the other cases that you make, Mr. Stone. But I guess my question is, how do you get that message to the mainstream?
It's a great question. Thank you, Robert. Got to jump. Great question.
That's what a campaign is about. That's why you go out and support super PACs that oppose Hillary Clinton. Because if the mainstream media, say CNN, doesn't want to interview you, that means you have to buy a 30 or 60-second spot in between their program breaks. That's advertising. This is the great thing about Citizens United. It used to be just the Clintons and the Bushes had political money. Now any citizen can go out there and be effective. Speech is money.
Let me ask you this, because I know you'll straight shoot us. You don't rah-rah. You don't cheerlead to put a good face on things. In fact, I think you give us the worst case. A lot of times behind the scenes, you tell me this is how the state's really going to go when the media is saying the opposite. And you've been right. I mean, you're super accurate. Not kissing your butt, no brag, just fact. What's his real numbers looking at all the polls? I mean, it's true he's getting ahead of Hillary, right? But, I mean, what do we face? The money issue? I mean, how is Trump really doing right now?
First of all, the idea that any Republican is running essentially even or in a dead heat or slightly behind or slightly ahead of Hillary Clinton at this point is extraordinary. You usually don't see this kind of closeness and gap closing until much later in the campaign. That means that there is, without any question, enough votes here to elect Donald Trump. Now, Trump is about to undergo the most virulent, nasty campaign of vilification in American political history. At the same time, they're going to try to discredit and smear the brave women who are going to stand up and tell people what the real Bill Clinton is like, a rapist. And they're going to attack him on a dozen other things, calling him a bigot, a racist, a misogynist, a lunatic, a wild man. It's the Barry Goldwater treatment. I don't think it will work. People are on to the two-party duopoly and their smear tactics. But this is the fact that Trump is this competitive in states like Ohio, Pennsylvania, New York, is extraordinary.
Florida.
This is going to be very, very.
Is he going to win California?
It's not impossible, but in all honesty, in my model for 270, He doesn't need to win.
All right, all right. Roger Stone, StoneZone.com. Thank you so much. What's the name of the PAC again? The good one.
The Committee for American Sovereignty. I think there will be other fine PACs and
sure, but
and
we don't want to support
PACs.
Karl Rove running off the cookie jar. Thank you, Roger. See you here in studio Friday.
Take care.